mit uns. Ja, James, mach weiter.
Sorry, got disconnected.
Ja, keine Sorge, mach weiter, bitte.
Okay. I continue. Ja, am Samstag zusammen mit meiner Frau und meinen 5 Monaten alten Sohn auf einer traditionellen Hochzeit.
Ja, also Tradition, Hochzeit, das ist die so der traditionellen Hochzeit. Ja, gut. Und wie war es? Wie war die, also ja, normalerweise gesprochene Sprache ist, wie war's?
Okay, we am lost a bit again.
Ja, wie war's? How was it?
Oh, it was good. It was good. Super. Super.
Okay, echt super. Okay, vielen Dank, James Wangi.
Bitte.
Okay. Ja, das ist, es scheint als ob du eine spannende Wochenende gehabt haben oder hast. Okay. Tumor.
Mir geht's gut, danke. Und dir?
Ich freue mich auf montags, aber das ist das Leben. Aber der Tag läuft schneller und schneller. Ja, aber alles geht bei mir. Ja, alles geht bei mir. Und wie war dein Wochenende?
Meine Wochenende war nicht gut. Ja, ich habe Arbeit und sehr müde.
Okay. Entweder was ich kann sagen ist Oje oder du Arme. Okay, du Arme. Ja, kennst du, was du Arme bedeutet?
Really?
Ja, du Arme. Okay, du Arme. Moment. Ich schreibe das. Ja, also dann wir sagen mein Wochenende. Okay, mein Wochenende. Und dann warst du beim Arbeit oder hattest du Arbeit?
Hattest Arbeit.
Oh, du hattest, also ich hatte. Okay, ich hatte Arbeit.
Ja, ich hatte Arbeit.
Okay. Und das ist die Verse. Okay, das ist James Mwangi geschrieben wie was so. Yeah, how was it? And then Karen, that is du arme. Ich kann sagen, ich kann auch du arme Karen sagen, aber auch oh, du arme. Ja. Und dann oder oh je. So hier du arme bedeutet also poor you, poor thing. Ja, also vielleicht wenn man sagt du armes Kind. Okay? Du armes Kind. Also, was für ein armes Kind. Poor thing. Or poor you. Or poor child. Yeah. Well, also yeah, that is, if you really can't do anything about your situation, yeah, you just say, du arme oder oje. Ja. So, oje, das ist das Leben. Okay. Ja. Das ist das Leben. Das Life. Ja. Okay. Wer ist wieder noch mit uns? Ja, Willy Munene. Wie geht's?
Ja. Hallo.
Hallo, ja? Aha.
Hallo?
Ja, Willy Munene. Ja, ja, weiter, mach weiter, bitte.
You asked a question. I didn't get the question, sorry.
Ja, also wie immer, am Anfang der Unterricht sprechen wir über unseren Tag oder unseres Wochenende oder unsere Wochenende, ja, was passiert. Also ja, wir kennen uns, lernen mehr über uns, mehr über unseren Tag. Ja. Und so das ist wie immer am Anfang circa 50 Minuten oder 15, tut mir leid, 15 Minuten, 15, 20 Minuten am Anfang der Unterricht.
Also, ich hatte einen schönen Tag und am Wochenende ich bin ins Dorf gefahren.
Okay. Und wie war's? Ja, okay. Hier können wir sagen aufs, okay, auf dem Land, okay, auf dem Land.
Auf dem Land.
Ja, auf dem Land. Oder du kannst auch sagen, ich war auf dem Land. Also ja.
Danke.
Hier, das ist.
Es war gut, es war interessant.
Also hier, kannst du bitte Adjektive Deklination, Adjektiven benutzen? Es war eine interessante Zeit. Okay. Oder ein interessanter Fakt. Also hier ein interessante Zeit oder interessanter Fakt. Und dann, was hast du auf dem Land gemacht?
Ja.
Aha. Was hast du? Normalerweise, wenn wir einen Satz mit W fragen, so das ist was, entweder was, wann, wie, wo, das ist eine Frage. Und so, was hast du gemacht?
Ich treffe meinen Großvater.
Mhm.
Ja, das ist alles.
Okay, das ist alles. Ja, also vielen Dank und ja, das kannst du auch sagen. Ich habe mit meinem Großvater Zeit verbracht. Ja.
Ja.
Ich habe mit meinem Großvater Zeit verbracht. Oder du kannst auch sagen, ich verbringe Zeit mit meiner Großvater. Ja. So ich habe mit meinem Großvater Zeit verbracht oder ich verbringe Zeit mit meinem Großvater. Die beide Sätze passt oder geht. Okay. Okay,
verstanden, danke.
Okay, ja, bitte. Ist Grace mit uns? Hast du schon kannst du mit uns sprechen oder bist du schon zu Hause?
Ja, bitte.
Okay, dann ja, wie geht's? Und bitte erzähl uns, wie dein Wochenende war.
Mir geht es gut. Wochenende wäre so groß und toll. Und der Tag war ein trauriger Tag. Ich habe meinen Onkel verloren.
Oh, tut mir leid, bitte. Ja.
Danke.
Ja, tut mir leid, ja. Ja, so wir sagen, war zu kurz. Okay. Okay. Ja, immer wenn jemanden ein Verwandtschaft oder Verwandtschaften verloren, ja, das ist eine schwierige Zeit. Ja, das ist emotional und so. Ja, aber vielen Dank, dass du bei uns bist und wir können weitermachen. Ja, und so, was ich will, dass wir fangen mit an ist diese zwei Dokumente habe ich euch schon geschickt. Okay. Aber ich möchte auch die durchlesen und dann erklären. Und wenn du Frage hast, dann bitte stell die Frage. So the documents that you had are about present tense and the present perfect. So the present tense, the difference between the English present tense and the German present tense is that the English present tense is divided into many other sections or other smaller sections, other smaller time sections, which you have to use them. So for example, if I'm talking about what's happening, what we're doing now, then I use the ing form, and which is the most common of talking about what's currently happening. And if I'm going to talk about something that I do every day, that's which is the perfect tense. So that's another tense, though still in the present tense, but it's referred to as a perfect tense. And if I'm going to refer to something that has just happened, like 5 minutes ago, then I would use that's another tense. If I'm going to talk about what's going to happen in the next, like let me say at 8:30, what we are going to learn next, then I'll use the future tense, even though it hasn't happened. I'll use the future tense. But in German, these tenses that are how the time is divided into tenses in English is not really applicable in the German language. And it's good that we know and understand this, so that we're also able to make correct sentences and just able to speak about a situation without thinking what tense it is and whether we are correct or not about the tense. And also this is to also avoid trying to directly translate an English sentence into German based on the tense. So for example, I'm sure if you're going to say what you're going to learn next, then I'm sure if I was to ask you, any one of us, then you use the word werden, which is will, okay, to show the future. Yeah, however, in the German language, that is not correct. So what I'll do is the documents are in I shared the documents in the group, though they are not clear. Okay, I can try and get clearer ones so that I can reshare them with you. So, and these are my personal notes, so they're not from any book. Yeah. So here, present tense. So the German, how to use the present tense in the German language. So, or how the German language uses the present tense. Okay. So I think I would rather proceed that way. How the German language uses the present tense. So the present tense, the first, number one, so it denotes the present state. Okay, maybe I should just try and write this. Okay, Maurice Stocker, willkommen bei uns. Auch Felix Rabongo. We have the present tense. So number one, it denotes the present state of something. Like if I ask you, wie geht es dir? So if I ask you, wie geht es dir, I'm basically asking you what is your present, what is your current state of health, state of life, state of, I'm basically just asking about how are you? Und so ein Beispiel, ist krank oder ich bin und so ich bin müde. So this is just okay, das ist so mir geht es gut. So all these are basically just talking about what the current state is. Okay, and then so another thing is that it talks about present action. So that's basically the ing form in English. Okay, the ing form in English. I'm sorry, I may be writing the notes and talking at the same time. Will take a bit of time, so I'll just prepare the notes and send them later, the slides later. Yeah, so it also present a present action, which is basically the ing form in English. So that's how you use. Okay, James Fongi, danke, ist, okay. Yeah, ist krank. Okay, vielen Dank. Okay. So the first one denotes the present state. Number two, a present tense is used to state a present action when you're talking about a present action. Zum Beispiel, arbeitet jetzt nicht. Okay, arbeitet jetzt nicht. So, so das ist so arbeitet jetzt nicht. So he's not working, he's currently not working. Okay, or he's not working at the moment, or he's not working now. So these three sentences in English, you can just use the word arbeitet jetzt nicht. So he's not working now, or he's currently not working, or at the moment he's not working. All these three English sentences can be put under. You can just use one single German or sentence, arbeitet jetzt nicht. So, and then it denotes a present habit. Okay, so a present habit. So number three, whenever you're talking about a present habit, which is a perfect tense in English, zum Beispiel, ich gehe jede Woche ins Kino. So ich gehe jede Woche ins Kino. So that's basically something that you do every week. Also ja, ich gehe jede Woche ins Kino. And then number 4, it's a continuous state of action beginning in the past. Okay. So continuous state of action beginning in the past. Zum Beispiel, ich warte schon 2 Stunden auf Sie. So ich warte schon 2 Stunden auf Sie. This means that I've waited for her for 2 hours. Okay, I have waited for her for 2 hours, or I've been waiting. Normally in English, you don't say I've waited for her for 2 hours. You say I've been waiting for her for 2 hours. You are still waiting. Okay, you are still there waiting, or so the moment you're saying I've been waiting for her for 2 hours, you are still in the process of waiting, or you are the process is just about to end. But the moment you're saying this sentence, you're still in the process of waiting. So even though you may not be there physically, you may have gone to do 1 or 2 errands, but you are still waiting. Like, okay, while I wait for her, let me go do window shopping. So even though you are doing a different action, you're window shopping, you've gone into a supermarket or somewhere else, but you haven't stopped waiting. You haven't stopped the waiting. You have not stopped waiting for her. So here's a continuous state of action beginning in the past. So the 2 Stunden began in the past. So it's now 2 hours since you've been waiting for her. And then number 4, that is future action. Okay, when used with adverbs of time. So future action when used with adverbs of time, like morgen, Stunde, Monat. Zum Beispiel morgen fliege ich nach. So morgen fliege ich nach Mombasa. So all these you'd use the present tense. Okay. So in all these situations, you use the present tense in German. So you just have your verb, conjugate it, and that's all you do. Okay. So like English, where, for example, like a future action when used with adverbs of time. In English, this would mean like tomorrow I'll fly to Mombasa, or tomorrow I'm flying to Mombasa, or I'm flying to Mombasa tomorrow. So here in English, if you use the word tomorrow, then that automatically means that's a future. So you can still say tomorrow I'm flying to Mombasa, but yeah, that would sound a bit weird. So you'd say I'll fly to Mombasa tomorrow morning. I mean, of course, both sentences are still correct. So I'm flying to Mombasa tomorrow morning, which is still correct. Aber auf Deutsch, das ist immer im Präsens. Okay, it's always in the present tense. So morgen fliege ich nach Mombasa. You not say morgen werde ich nach Mombasa fliegen. Okay? You not use that phrase. So you not say morgen werde ich nach Mombasa fliegen. You say morgen fliege ich nach Mombasa. You still use a present. You still use a present tense. And then number 6, this is a future action introduced by Van. So zum Beispiel Van besuchst uns. So wann besuchst du uns? So this will mean like something when will you visit us next? Or when are you visiting us next? So when will you visit us next? So when will you visit us? Or when are you visiting us? So in English, we more or less say when will you visit us? Aber auf Deutsch, das ist wann besuchst du uns, which is in the present tense. Und dann für wenn, das ist wenn du nach Deutschland kommst, machst du eine Stadtrundfahrt. So wenn du nach Deutschland kommst, machst du eine Stadtrundfahrt. So here, yeah, when you come to Germany, or when you come to Germany, please do a city tour, okay? Or do a city tour. So all these scenarios, they're in the present tense. So as you realize, the present tense in German covers quite, in the German language, covers quite a wide range of time, okay? From what has started in the past and what is yet to happen or what is going to happen in the future. So it's an action in the future, but that's going to be done in the future, but it's yet to happen. Okay, it's yet to happen, but it's going to be done in the future. So zum Beispiel, wenn du nach Deutschland kommst, okay, wenn du nach Deutschland kommst, that's when you come to Germany, the action has not yet already happened. Wann besuchst du uns? When will you visit us? Okay. So that's a future, something to be done in the future. Morgen fliege ich nach Mombasa. I'm still talking about tomorrow, which is still in the future. So it's an action which is yet to happen. So all these are in the present tense in the German language, and auch what has started in the past. So ich warte schon 2 Stunden auf Sie. Aber ich warte schon 2 Stunden auf Sie. So that's an action that has started in the past and is still continuing, so that you still use the present tense in German. So here you discover that the present tense is actually one of the most commonly used tenses in German. Okay. The present tense is one of the most commonly used tenses in German, and it covers both the ing form in English like I am going to school. I go to school every day. I went to school yesterday, or I am just from school, or I have gone to school. So all these, or I will go to school tomorrow. All these will be in the present tense in German. So even though in English, we separate each and every one of them into 4 different tenses. But in German, all of them are in the present tense. So you just take a verb, you conjugate it, and that's it. Yeah. Okay, any question? Any question on the present tense? Okay. So
I have a question, sorry.
yeah.
How can you tell in German that this sentence is in a continuous state? Like, for example, in English, we have like ing, which tell us it's something that is continuing. It shows a continuous habit or state. But how can we tell in German?
Okay. Gute Frage. So actually the German language does not have the continuous tense. Okay, it doesn't have the continuous tense. And so so for example, you hear, so a native German language speaker, or a native German speaker who's most probably learning English, say, I go outside, okay? Or I go to the supermarket. Because for them, they're also translating from German to English. And since the German language does not have the present continuous tense, for them, it doesn't exist. So then they would say, I go to the supermarket, which for you as someone who knows and understands English, that sounds a bit wrong, because it's supposed to be, I'm going to the supermarket. So for example, like you're seated in an office and then he says, yeah, or she tells you, I go to the supermarket. Do you want anything? Okay. But in actual sense, it's in English, the correct English is, I'm going to the supermarket. Do you want anything from the supermarket? So the German language does not have the present continuous tense, which makes it a little bit complicated, because for us, who speak English and we are learning German, then we translate the present continuous, a present continuous sentence in English into German, and that's when I think you'll hear most people saying, Ich bin ist krank. Okay, ich bin ist krank. Oder ich bin arbeite jetzt nicht. Ich bin arbeite jetzt nicht. Because we are trying to translate I am not working now. So the just know that the present continuous tense does not exist in German. So most of what the German language has is just the present tense. It only has one present tense. And that's what I explained before, that when in English, the present tense is subdivided into present continuous, that's an action that's going on, or an action that happens every day or every now and then, that has its own tense. Another action which is still in the present tense, but is yet to happen, that has its own tense, specific tense. Yeah, in the German language only has present tense. Yeah. So whether you're talking about a present state, like how you are, or a present action, or a habit, which is the present, or a continuous state or action beginning in the past. Yeah, so all this, it doesn't matter, all this in the present tense, which makes it easier to learn how to construct and talk in German. Because anything, most of the things that you'd say are usually in the present tense. You just use the present tense. So no need to think about, okay, here, do I need to use the future tense? Do I need to use the past tense? It's something that has just happened. For example, there's an accident, it just happened. So which tense do I use? Yeah, most of the time, if you use the present tense, just know that 90% you are correct. Okay, any other question? What you call the present perfect. Okay, so the present perfect. So here, this is something that you also learned in A1, and also the present tense, something that you learned in A1. But I'm not sure whether you learned about the explanation and when to use it, and what falls under the present tense. So here, so this is just eine Wiederholung und weitere Erklärung. So it's just a repetition and explaining further, or explaining in more details something that you already learned. So that's why I'm just going through it quickly. So the present perfect, I'll send you the slides later, or and as I already mentioned, you have the two documents, they're handwritten. They're the two documents which are handwritten, and they seem not to be so clear. So for those of us who joined us a bit later, then yeah, just know that these are my personal notes. Okay, and that's why they're handwritten. So here we have the present perfect, which is a perfect of Deutsch. So the formation, the present tense forms. So you form the present perfect with the forms of haben or das Sein plus the past participle. And then, so here, that's basically it. So how do you form the past participle? Then that is with a regular verbs take ge, some verbs which have certain prefixes like verstehen will not take a ge to be verstanden. So those are irregular verbs. So the verbs that take haben, so we just concentrate on which verbs take haben and which verbs take sein. So the verbs that take haben, these are transitive verbs. Okay, transitive verbs. That is verbs which can take a direct object. Okay, transitive verbs, which is basically equal to accusative. Okay, so transitive verbs, these are verbs like that can take a direct object. So there are certain verbs that can take a direct object. There are certain verbs that cannot take a direct object. They have to take an indirect object. Yes. For example, helfen. Helfen cannot take a direct object. You have to be helping someone with something or to do something. So the verb helfen cannot take a direct, cannot take a direct object case. So it cannot be a transitive verb. So these are transitive verbs. Zum Beispiel, sie hat mich gestern angerufen. So here, angerufen. So I'm trying to think of, so we have a verb like kommen, which in the perfect would be gekommen. And you have a word like anrufen, which is a trennbare verb. So you have the an, you have the ge, angerufen. Okay, angerufen. So any trennbare verb, you put the ge between the preposition or the prefix and the stem of the verb. So that is angerufen. So sie hat mich gestern angerufen. And then number 2, the verbs that take haben. That is reflexive verbs or reflexive verbs. Ich habe mir zum Geburtstag eine Uhr gewünscht. Ich habe mir zum Geburtstag eine Uhr gewünscht. So reflexive verbs take haben. And then impersonal verbs. Gestern hat es den ganzen Tag geregnet. So gestern hat es den ganzen Tag geregnet. So here these are regnen is what you call an impersonal verb. It's impersonal because it's a weather that's raining. Okay, so it's not you who is causing the rain to rain, or it's not your friend who is causing the rain to rain, but yeah, it's a weather. And the weather is something that you really have no control over. So that's why they're called impersonal verbs. Okay. So all impersonal verbs take haben. So gestern hat es den ganzen Tag geregnet. Then verbs that take sein. Okay. So verbs that take sein. Intransitive verbs denoting a change in condition. So intransitive verbs denoting a change in condition. So here, intransitive verbs, these are verbs that, these are verbs which cannot take the direct object or which may not take the direct object case. It's just the opposite of the transitive verbs. So we have transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. So zum Beispiel, die Ferien sind schnell vergangen. Okay, die Ferien sind schnell vergangen. So here that the verb here is gehen. So gehen is oder vergehen, that is vergangen. Okay, vergangen. Remember the verb gehen is gangen, gegangen, gegangen. So here we have an vergangen, that is vergehen. Okay, the verb in the present tense is vergehen. Die Ferien sind schnell vergangen. And then verbs of motion denoting a change of place. Okay, verbs of motion denoting a change of place. Wir sind eine halbe Stunde zum Bahnhof gelaufen. So the verb here is laufen. So remember when you talk about laufen, it's moving from point A to point B. Yeah, you cannot say ich laufe. But yeah, but you're talking about staying in the same place. Okay. Or another, if something went on well. Okay, if something went on well, for example, like I asked you about your weekend, es ist gut gelaufen. Okay, es ist gut gelaufen. That means it went well. So here you are talking about Saturday or from Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, just the whole weekend, how everything went. So everything changed and it was almost moving from one thing to another. So in that case, you'd say laufen. So wir sind eine halbe Stunde zum Bahnhof gelaufen. The most important thing to remember is sind. It's a verb sein. Okay. And then the two verbs which did not change of state. Okay. The two verbs which did not state, and that is sein und bleiben. So sein basically just means your state, okay, who you are, okay, and your state keeps on changing. Like, yeah, I can be tired now. The next 5 minutes, I'm going to bed, or I'm happy. In the next 5 minutes, I'm sad now. In the next 2 minutes, I'm happy. Maybe at 9:10, then I'm not feeling okay. So my state keeps on changing. Okay, it's talking about here the verb sein in German. If you think really about it, then the deeper meaning of it, it's talking about who you are exactly. Okay, without anything else. Okay, without you doing anything, who are you? Okay, who are you? So that's how you say ich bin. Okay, so ich bin Cyrus oder ich bin der Cyrus. So who are you? And if I asked you, how are you? Then how are you feeling? How have you been? What's your body feeling? So it's a verb that really tells us about the you. It more or less talks about your soul. If you can use that that sentence. And so the verb sein und bleiben. Okay. So this in the perfect tense take the helping verb sein. Okay. Both take the helping verb sein. Okay, and that's that about the present tense and the present perfect or the perfect. So presence und perfect, and these are quite important. And the reason for this is because they're the most commonly used tenses in the German language. They're the most commonly used tenses in the German language. Yeah. What we call like the preteritum, which is a past tense, which ideally is the past tense. Yeah, you only find that in the geschriebene Sprache. Okay, geschriebene Sprache is where you find the preteritum. Aber gesprochene Sprache, it's mostly perfect, entweder perfect oder present. So that's gesprochen, gesprochen. And future, that's the future tense. Okay, there's a as you learn German further, then you learn that there's future eins, future zwei. The future is hardly ever used. Okay, in gesprochene Sprache. Okay, in gesprochene Sprache, the future is hardly ever used. So, for example, I can be talking about today's Monday, then I'm talking about something you're supposed to do on Wednesday, which in English, I'm forced to use the future tense, but in German, I'll use the present tense. And then also, even my response, like for example, please do that. Will you do that on Wednesday? And then I'd say, my response will be, yes, I'll do it. But in German, the German language, you'd say, yeah, ich mag das. Yeah, ich mag das. So here I'm basically still in the future, but I'm using a present tense to tell you that, yeah, I'll do it. Okay. Yeah. So the present tense is the mostly used tense in the German language. So please in fact, there's no need to master it as such or to learn it because we've already learned it. Okay, so you just need your verb, conjugate it, and that's it. Put it in the correct place. If you're asking a question, then start with the verb. And then zum Beispiel ist krank. Okay, ist krank oder arbeitet jetzt nicht. Yeah, so it just depends on how you want to phrase your sentence. And then so unless of course, unless now you're going to go to conjunctive zwei, but those are also still in the present tense. All those are still in the present tense. It's just that it's now the verb that changes to be the main verb. Okay, is the one that changes present tense. So this is something that I just thought we take time and insist on it and we learn it so that whenever we're thinking about saying a sentence in German, we just think about it in the present tense. The present tense here is just take the verb, conjugate it correctly, and make a sentence with it. Okay, so if you're going to say nächstes Wochenende. So next weekend I'll go visit my friend. In the German language, that would still be the present tense. So next Wochenende oder nächstes Wochenende besuche ich meine oder since I'm talking about next weekend, I'm still using the present tense. Okay, und so ja, das ist ganz wichtig. Okay. It's important that we know that. So that also this helps us with the process of thinking in German. Okay. It also helps us with the process of thinking in German. our thought process. G, there's no present continuous. So we just only have what you can call the perfect tense, or they only have the present tense, which is the perfect tense. Okay. Yep. Any question on that?
Sir,
Yeah, Peter?
the use at the same time. Yeah,
Preteritum?
Use at the same time.
And Beispiel?
Let's say.
Yeah, so if you say I was sick, then you say, yeah, of course, the simplest way to say that is ich war krank, and that's because the verb is war. It comes from the verb sein. So it is a verb, okay? It is your main verb which shows the tense, or depending on what tense you're talking about, then you conjugate your main verb to that tense. So if you have ich war krank und muss ins Krankenhaus gehen. So you see here again, remains the same in the infinitive, but what we have conjugated to show us which tense our sentence is a verb sein, which is verb.
Okay, and did something like maybe in the past, for example, I would like to say like I studied management. I studied some like any subject. I studied nursing. How can I say that? Like, should it be in preteritum or in the perfect?
Perfect. Or so now depending, okay, are you saying that or are you writing that? Okay. Is it are you using that in a speech, or are you writing that? Like, let me say you're writing someone a note or just a short text about you, and you say, and then you are you're like, I studied nursing. So here, so if it's written, then you'd use preteritum. If it's spoken, you'd use perfect. That is basically how it is, okay? But then there's some words which are much than in the perfect, and they're much simpler to say, to construct in the preteritum than it is in the perfect tense. So, for example, the word studieren, okay. So, ich studierte Krankenpflege, okay. Ich studierte Krankenpflege, or you can say ich habe die Krankenpflege studiert. So which one is simpler? So if you're normally in a normal speech, yeah, ich habe Krankenpflege studiert. That's basically what you'd say in the gesprochene. Also in the geschriebene Sprache, you'd still write, ich habe die Krankenpflege studiert. So now, unless you're talking about maybe you're talking about something that happened in the 18th century, or maybe you're talking about a famous German person like Goethe. Then you'd use that. You'd use a preteritum. Yeah.
Okay. Because I always find myself having this problem when, like, instead of using, for example, in the spoken, like when you're using the perfect, I use the preteritum, and when I'm doing writing, I do the perfect. I interchange. So is it still bad?
It's not bad, but I would discourage it because preteritum is simple to use, simple to construct, but it's not used in the spoken language. Actually, if you find a native, we don't say that in German.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they'll correct you and tell you that this is what you should say, and then you're thinking to yourself, okay, but it's the same thing. It's just that the tense is what is different. Okay, yeah. So yeah, especially the older generation. Yeah, even the current generation or whichever generation we're talking about, like from the 70s, you're not used to hearing that. Okay, they're not used to hearing preteritum in the spoken language unless you're using the word hatte or daba. Okay, so I remember, like James Mwangi I asked you vivas. Okay, vivas. So how was it? instead of saying wie ist es gewesen? Yeah, wie ist es gewesen? Yeah, just ask you vivas, and that's what's commonly used. Yeah, but you'd hardly use preteritum in the So if you read a German novel, that's when you'll come across the preteritum, okay, quite a lot, and you'll actually find nearly all tenses in a German novel, like the present perfect preteritum. But preteritum will be mostly used because it's telling a story of either many centuries ago or something which is not ideally realistic, like the romance novels or the horror novels. Yeah. So that's where you find the preteritum. but even in the what do you call a book about someone? Yeah, biography. In the biographies, so in the biographies, you also find the preteritum. Yeah, so preteritum is mostly used in the written German, but hardly in the spoken. So the spoken is mostly present tense und perfect. So if I ask you, if you've done something, of course, you cannot say that in the present. You cannot answer in the present tense. You can just say, ja, das habe ich schon gemacht. Or you just say, ja, schon gemacht. Yeah. Yeah, schon gemacht. So the most tenses I would really concentrate on it at the perfect and the present tense. Yeah. Okay, any other question? Okay, Abita?
Just saying thank you.
Yeah, normally, yeah, the response in German is bitte or bitteschön, but so sometimes I either say bitte or bitteschön or dankeschön. So whichever I say, then just know that that's what I mean by yeah. You're welcome. So if I'm going to ask you to repeat something, then I'll ask you wie bitte oder noch einmal bitte. Okay, but if I just say the word bitte oder bitteschön oder dankeschön oder danke, then just know I'm telling you you're welcome or thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I'd like us to move on to something else. And this is something that, yeah, it's a document I shared with us in the group in the morning because some of us in the morning class did not have it. So it's about temporale prepositionen. So we have different types of prepositionen. So we have the temporale prepositionen. Whenever you see temporale in German or in English, temporal, okay, temporal, that's basically talking about time, okay, just talking about time. So we have die temporale Prepositionen, causale Prepositionen. So causale Prepositionen, hier haben wir die Präposition, die immer Akkusativ braucht oder brauchen, und die Präpositionen, die immer brauchen. So causale Präpositionen, entweder Präpositionen, die immer Akkusativ brauchen oder Präpositionen, die immer Dativ brauchen. Und dann wir haben die Wechselpräpositionen. Okay, die Wechselpräpositionen. Okay, ja, also diese sind auch kausale Präpositionen. Aber die Namen sind nicht so wichtig. Okay, so the titles are not so important. It's just for you to understand the concept. Okay, so take the concept, understand it, and use it. Okay. Same way with the present tense, with all tenses, with everything in the German language. Just take the concept and understand it. And here it will depend on the context. Okay. So take the topic, get it under what's the context, what am I going to speak about? Is it to speak about time? And I'm going to use this preposition, then this is what I need to do. So, or I'm reading something and this is the context, it's talking about, fear is used with accusative. So then that is it's used as an accusative preposition in that case. Or you find a preposition supposed to be also with accusative. Then in that case it's used as a vexed preposition, but it's used in the dative case. So it's not really a matter of thinking that, okay, this is a temporary preposition, and in this case, here in this case, it's a causal preposition. Here in this case, it's a vexed preposition. So without going deeply into the details, just understand the context. And as I was telling the morning class, the German language is quite simple, so simple. Some of the basic things that you need to understand. Once you've understood your conjugation, then the next thing that you need to understand is, and you've understood the tense, okay? And the tenses are, the present tense is the most commonly used in any given situation. In the spoken language. And then, so the next thing that you need to understand is, get to know your nouns together with the article, okay? Get to know your nouns together with the article, and get to know your prepositions. Get to know your prepositions. And the verbs. So we've already known our conjugation. We've already known, so that means we already know the present tense. Okay, so the first two are covered. So now prepositions. So the only thing we need to know is get to know the meanings of these prepositions. When to use them, when not to use them, what do they mean in this case, and which case are they using? Is this ima with accusative? Is this ima with dative? Is this a vexed preposition? So is there an object? And then, so just get to study the prepositions. There are not too many, okay? The prepositions are not that many. So they just repeat themselves. But I would say there's little creativity with the guys the original German language speakers, in that they just get to repeat words. So they'd say, okay, this one will, this 6 will take the accusative, this number, this 7 will always take the dative case. And then we have these other prepositions which can be used which can take either accusative or dative. And also this can also be used in any other case, like either with time. So they're not that many, okay? And then also get to understand your accusative and the dative case, okay? So after understanding your conjugation and your present tense, and how to make simple sentences in the present tense, then now learn how to use prepositions, accusative, and dative. Okay, which would then mean that you need to know the article of your noun. So here's, you have to know the article of your noun. And the best way to talk about that is just learn. Whenever you're learning a new noun, learn it together with its article. Learn how it's used in a context. Okay, learn how it's used in any given context. So don't learn a word on its own as an island. Okay. So learn the different ways it's used. So whenever you're coming across a word for the first time, either when reading or gesprochene Sprache, learn how it's used with other different words and how its relationship with other different, with the other words, with the nouns, with the adjectives. Yeah. And then the other important thing in the German language are the adjectives. Okay. So here the adjectives are basically adjective and definition. Okay, which also depend on whether it's accusative, dative, and this also means that this just brings you back to the article of the nouns. So the article of the nouns is quite important. Okay, so whenever we are learning any new word, learn it together with how it relates to the other words in any given sentence. And that is the exercise that we're doing, which we were doing last week, about building our vocabulary. So here's just to form a relationship with words. For those of us who are in the IT field, you know how to build different relationships when you're building a database. So assume this is a database, and this needs to link to this needs to link to this links to this links to this. How is it related to this? Yeah, so that's basically how easy it is to learn a language. Yeah. So for those of us who are in the IT language, in the IT field, just think of you learning how to build a database. Yeah, and then you'll have a far much simpler way to go about it. So here, and for those of us who like music, you know, there's a certain way that you feel that, yeah, the guy playing the drums should have played this, the guy playing the guitar should have played this note here so that it gets together, or maybe the guy playing, I don't know, the flute or the sax should have played this at this point, or maybe, you know, or the vocalist, you know, this one should not have sung here, this one should not have sung here, or they should have sung at this point. So it's basically just forming that words have relationship with other. Take an example of something that you enjoy doing, like a hobby, something that you enjoy doing, and try and relate learning the German language with whatever, with either your field of study or your work, or something that you really enjoy. Okay, something that you you really enjoy. Yeah, so for example, the guys who are doing nursing, you know, of course, certain mates cannot go together because they'll interact, but certain mates can go together perfectly well. That's why you find some people having 10 different mates to treat something, but all these mates have different components, they have different chemical components. But there's something similar in maybe like the similar chemical component in 5 of them, which makes them not interact with each other. Yeah, so it's basically the same thing. So if you think about learning a language, either with your field of study, then it becomes much simpler. Or think about it as something that you really enjoy, then it becomes far much simpler. You can even think about acquiring the language, studying the language for those of us who enjoy cooking or preparing a meal. There are certain spices that just don't go together. You know, when you not that they cannot be used together, but you know, when you taste the food, when you use certain spices, then yeah, you just feel something is wrong. Okay, so something is wrong. You know, this should not have been included here. So it's the same way with the language. So if you are to use a wrong preposition in a right sentence, so a native listener of that language is almost like, you know, you are the chef and they're the ones who are tasting the food, and they're like, this certain preposition or this certain spice should not be included here. Okay, otherwise the food tastes great, that your sentence is great, but yeah, it's this specific thing. Yeah, Taka. Yeah, so that's basically how learning a language is. It's a science. If you love painting, you know, you'll see a certain paint. It's quite simple enough. The colors are matching, everything is together. And then you see another painting, which could be more or less similar, but then they've added additional colors, and then you're thinking, maybe there's just one color that's off. It's just something that's not going together. It's, yeah. So it's the same way with learning a language. Yeah. Okay, so let's try and not think about learning a language as a skill on its own, that only certain people can master, or certain people have it. So you either know how to acquire a language or know how to speak a language because you're good at it, or because you study so hard. No, that's never the case. It's just relating how you study a language, or how you acquire a language with something that you like, okay, or with your profession. Yeah. So and then you basically find it much far much easier than you think. Okay, so here we just go I'll just cover this quickly. And then, so we have temporale Präpositionen. Temporale Präpositionen können eine Antwort auf die Frage Wörter, wann, bis wann, seit wann, von wann, bis wann, um wie viel Uhr und wie lange geben. Und dann man unterscheidet entweder Zeitdauer, und hier eine Zeitdauer gibt einen Zeitraum an, der einen Anfang und ein Ende hat. So here, Zeitdauer has a beginning and has an end. Okay, so it tells you about Zeitraum. How do you translate Zeitraum? It's a duration. Okay, I know Zeitdauer means duration, but it's a specific period of time within that duration that has a beginning and it has an end. Und dann die Fragen dazu lauten bis wann, seit wann und was, von wann bis wann oder wie lange. Und dann wir haben Zeitpunkt, ja, warte, Zeitpunkt, ein Zeitpunkt gibt eine genaue Zeit an. Die Befragen dazu lauten wann oder um wie viel Uhr. So those are the two differences. Zeitpunkt, that is an exact time. So if I ask you wann kommst du oder wann kommst du morgen, I'm asking you about a specific time. Oder wann treffen wir uns? Okay, wann treffen wir uns? When are we meeting? I'm asking about a specific time. Oder um wie viel Uhr treffen wir uns? Okay. Oder um wie viel Uhr kommt der Bus? Okay. Oder wann kommt der Bus? Okay. So here um wie viel Uhr, you normally use it with, for example, um wie viel Uhr fängt unser Unterricht? Okay. So at what time is the lesson starting? Okay. Um wie viel Uhr fängt unsere Prüfung? So you want to know about an exact time. Normally we use the word wann. That's basically the time that the phrase that you hear, but you can use the word wie viel Uhr to know. So if you use the word wie viel Uhr, then you are asking to be told, you are asking me to tell you about either it can be Uhr 30, okay, Uhr 30, and then my answer would start with wie viel Uhr, Uhr 30. But if you use the word wann, you have not used the preposition so I'll just say Uhr 30. Okay, so here we have a table. We have the Kasus on the left, Befrage, Präposition, entweder Zeitdauer oder Zeitpunkt. So we have 1, 2, 3, yeah. So we have okay. Ist das besser? Okay, ja, vielen Dank, Karen. Okay, so, yeah, so, okay, so here we have 5 rows. Kasus, Befrage, Präposition, Zeitdauer oder Zeitpunkt. And so here, this is a summary. Okay, this is a summary of which preposition, which Befrage, what is the Frage? And is it, and what Zeitdauer, is it talking about a duration of time, or is it talking about a specific time? Okay, so we have für, das ist immer plus Akkusativ, gegen, immer plus then über, that is talking about Zeitraum, then für, das ist zukünftiger Zeitraum, that's für wie lange, zukünftiger, that comes from the word Zukunft. Dann wir haben das ist genauer Uhrzeit und genauer Zeitangabe. Wenn dann wir haben ab oder von an, das ist wann oder ab wann. Ja, das ist Beginn der Gegenwart. In the table here is just a summary. So please go through that. You already have it in the group. And sent it just or maybe close to 10. So you should have had, so you should have it with you in the group. Okay, so here, if I just quickly go through this, we have temporale Präpositionen, die eine Zeitdauer anzeigen. Für plus Akkusativ gibt einen zukünftigen Zeitraum an, dann W-Frage für wie lange wie lange. Das ist, wie lange bleiben Sie in Kiel? Ich bleibe nur für 3 Tage in Kiel. So here also the temporale preposition is in the red color, and then it's in bold. Okay, and then so from page 2, this is just basically the explanation. And then here Müttermäulchen, okay, here Müttermäulchen ist gestern für 2 Wochen nach Japan geflogen. So here it's basically, yeah, wie lange? Okay, so here you're asking, so here für 2 Wochen oder 2 Wochen, that means how long? The length of time. So here you use für because the question is wie lange. Then über immer temporale Präpositionen, dann gibt einen Zeitraum an, wir fragen wann und dann nach Klagenfurt fahren. So hier übers ist über das. Okay, über das. Du kannst auch so über das Wochenende, übers, wie was. So that wie war es. Übers Wochenende, über das Wochenende. Okay, dann wir haben über die Karnevalsstadt Zymisch werden. Okay. So hier die Frage ist wann. Okay, wann? Das ist die Frage. Dann ab und von Punkt an, auch plus Akkusativ, plus Dativ, gibt einen gegenwärtigen oder zukünftigen Zeitraum mit einem festgelegten Beginn an. Okay, festgelegten Beginn an. Das Ende bleibt dabei offen. W-Frage ist ab wann. So hier ab oder von Punkt an hier wir haben, okay, das ist etwas, das beginnt im Gegenwart oder zukünftigen Raum und hat einen festgelegten Beginn, okay, an und hat einen festgelegten Beginn. Festgelegten Beginn means a specific beginning time. Okay, it has a specific time of beginning. So first is immer, say, like for you tell a kid, halt dich fest. Okay, halt dich fest. Hold on tightly. Okay. So halt dich fest. So first here is it has a specific beginning that's already specified. It cannot be changed. So the beginning is already specified, but the ending, the time of the ending, or the ending time is open. Okay, it's open. Nobody, you are free to leave anytime. Okay, of course, there's a specific end or so, but it's but it's open. Okay. Then yeah, okay. Und so, ja, ab kommender Woche ist der Hansel für 3 Wochen nicht mehr zu erreichen. So, ab kommender Woche ist der Hansel für 3 Wochen nicht mehr zu erreichen. So there's so in the coming from next week, from the other coming week, okay, from the other coming week, Herr Hansel will not be available for 3 weeks. So here, it's beginning in the next coming week, but within this, you're just talking about 3 weeks, okay? So it can either be available on the 4th week, but the date is not, the day of the week or whichever day is not specified, or he may not be available. Okay, so the end date of him, of his unavailability is not specified. It's just that I'm telling you he'll not be available for 3 weeks. So I can tell you that, yeah, come on Monday on the 4th week, because I'm also not sure that he'll be available then. So dann von kommendem Montag an gelten neue gesetzliche Regelungen im Erbschaftsrecht. Okay, und dann, ab wann ist Frau Junkelwicht im Urlaub? So, ab dem 14. August. So here, ab dem 14. August, there you have a specific date when the Urlaub is beginning, but we don't know when. We don't know when she's coming back. Okay, so for example, if you're going to have a meeting and you're told, okay, yeah, the meeting, so there's not as, of course, the meeting is has time slots, and then there's a time slot for, networking or getting to know each other, and then or leave at your own pleasure. Yeah, at that point, in that case, you use a app oder von Punkt an. And Beispiel ist Hochzeit. Okay. eine Hochzeit. Eine Hochzeit, you just be told the time that the function is beginning, but it really has no end. No end is, yeah, so das Ende bleibt offen. Ja, then bei plus Dativ gibt eine Gleichzeitigkeit an. Okay, die Frage, wann? So beim Essen sollen die Kinder nicht schmatzen. So hier beim auch ist bei dem, okay, bei dem Essen sollen die Kinder nicht schmatzen. So during, or when the kids are eating, they should not be, let's say, how do you say what, chewing loudly? Yeah, that's what schmatzen would actually mean, like to chew, yeah, to make such sounds when eating. So by, it's by them. I know in English you'd say during meal times. Okay, during meal times, the children should not chew loudly or something like that. Aber auf Deutsch, you use the word bei. Okay, so die Kinder müssen lernen, beim Tauchen die Luft anzuhalten. So die Kinder müssen lernen, beim Tauchen die Luft anzuhalten. So the kids must learn that the kids must learn to hold their breath when they are diving. And also here the word when, in that phrase, when you say that phrase in English, you can still use during. Okay, so during diving, you must hold your breath. So anzuhalten is holding the breath. Okay, and then Erich hat seine Frau beim Wandern kennengelernt. Here that's basically you use during. During of English, that is während, but während you not use während, you use by. If you're talking about time, then you use by. Okay, and then yeah, bis zu side. You have all these. Please read through it, and then if you have any question, just ask. Yeah, bis zu. I'm sure we know that. Dann bis wann brauchst du den Wagen? Ich brauche ihn bis einschließlich Freitag. Einschließlich means inclusive of Friday. Okay. And something I just want to point out here is the first part of the sentence, bis wann brauchst du den Wagen? And then the answer, the other person. So instead of repeating den Wagen, ich brauche den Wagen, just says in. The Wagen here is already in the dative. So his reference to it is also going to be the dative. So ich brauche in. Okay, bis. Yeah. Then some quickly going through this. Then seit, that is imperfective, and then bis zu. That is bis plus accusative. And then here, wenn Nomen ohne Artikel. Okay, das ist bis plus accusative, wenn Nomen ohne Artikel. Okay, und so zum Beispiel unsere Gäste wollen nur noch bis Freitag bleiben. Akkusativ. Und dann bis zu plus Dativ, wenn Nomen mit Artikel. Okay, bis zu plus Dativ, wenn Nomen mit Artikel. Und dann hier seit plus Dativ, seit wann von bis, okay. Then we have ja zwischen, das ist Plusdativ. Zwischen den Monaten Mai und August hat es in diesem Jahr kaum geregnet. Okay. Zwischen dem 5. August und dem 18. August bleibt die Zahnarztpraxis geschlossen. Then we have außerhalb, innerhalb. Yeah, this one really don't concentrate much on them because they use the genitive. So außerhalb, this means outside of a given time period. Innerhalb, within a given time period. Während is during, okay, during a given time duration. Yeah, then something that maybe I just need to explain a little bit on. So gegen here, so temporale Präpositionen, die einen Zeitpunkt anzeigen. So gegen plus Akkusativ. Das gibt einen ungenauen oder ungefähren Zeitpunkt an. Ungenauen oder ungefähren Zeitpunkt an. Oft ist es eine ungefähre, also ja, ein Beispiel, wann kommst du etwa wieder? So gegen 20 Uhr. Oder wie viel Uhr ist es? Ich weiß es nicht genau. Es müsste so gegen 16 Uhr sein. Okay. So hier ist musste das ist Konjunktiv 2. So here gegen is it's not a specific time. For example, if you are going to meet at 3 p.m. or maybe you have a party to go to, like, and you're meeting at 7. Okay, you're supposed to meet at 7, and the party is supposed to begin at 8. So you'd like to meet at 7. Yeah, and then just go do some shopping and head to the party. Then, yeah, you'd use the word gegen 7 Uhr or gegen 19 Uhr, because it's not exactly like at 7. So someone can come, you can come there earlier or you can come later, but not exactly at 7. 10 minutes to 7, you can come 10 minutes past 7, because you're also meeting there to discuss something, what you need to take for your friend's birthday party or something, what you should do, yeah, and such. So we are not meeting at an exact time. There's that allowance of time. So either a few minutes before or a few minutes after. Yeah. And then whoever's called for the meeting, then, you know, when there's enough quorum or when most people are there, then they can say, okay, yeah, either we can go now or let's wait for so and so. And then we go. So it's one of the few times that the Germans are flexible with time. Usually, mostly when going for an unofficial event. Okay, an unofficial event. Yeah, so that's when they are a little bit flexible with the time, and they'll use the word gegen. Okay, gegen. So if you hear Germans say to just know that they're a little bit flexible with the time. And yeah, feel free, okay, but don't come like an hour later, the way we do on this side of the world. But if they use the word okay, if they use the word then it's an exact time. You have to be there at that time. you'd rather be earlier, like 5 minutes earlier. But at that time, if they say the class is beginning at 8, so if it was a typical German who was having the classes with us, and and he's told that, okay, you'd be having 6 students during the class. If he logs in at 8:02, there's no one. Yeah, he's done. Yeah, he's done for the day. Yeah. So that's how much strict they are with the time. So let's also try and get that. Okay, let's also try and get that. Yeah, I know that we have various things that we are doing that we're not, but if we say do the class, it's between 8 and 10. At 8 we begin. At 8 we begin. Okay. So I just thought I should concentrate on the word gegen. Okay, on the word gegen, and explain it a little bit in context. Yeah. So I know all these, you may be wondering, okay, how comes in English all these don't exist? Yeah, that's true. And that's because in English, we normally just use the word, okay, we meet at 8, we meet around 8 p.m. Yeah, I think those are the only 2 words those are the only 2 phrases which we commonly use in English. Yeah, and then they really don't require a direct object or an indirect object. Aber here, diese temporary Prepositionen, or you would also use between, okay, the meeting is between 8 and 10, or the wedding is starting at 10 a.m. And this is out of the program, and then at 2 p.m. Guests can leave at their own pleasure. And so we also do use them in English, but not in the everyday language. Okay. Yeah. So please do read this document. Okay. Please do read this document. There'll be an assignment on it on Friday. Okay. We'll have an assignment on it on Friday. Okay, so I think we end there for today. And then tomorrow we'll do what I thought we would have covered today, that is a Hören, Teil 1. Okay, so tomorrow we'll start with the Hören Teil 1. So if you have any others, if you have any assignment which you've not handed in, please do that. At least before. Okay, I think Friday is Good Friday, so we will not have a class then. So we'll have the assignment for this on Thursday. Okay, so if you've not had any assignment, then please do that in the course of the week. Latest Wednesday. Okay, latest Wednesday. Okay. And then also we'll have Veranstaltungen. That is basically making appointments. That is something that we also get to listen to. And then there's something, I don't know whether I shared it in the group in the morning, that I need to explain and also give us an assignment on. Okay, yeah. Okay, so here, okay, so here we have an, okay, yeah, gute und schlechte Aussichten. Alle reden vom Wetter. Okay. Dann, was fällt Ihnen, wenn Sie das Wort Wetter hören? Okay. Was fällt Ihnen ein, wenn Sie das Wort Wetter hören? So hier Regen und wieder keinen Schirm dabei. Ja. So this is assuming, you left the house, the weather was like, it was today, it was sunny in the morning. It's been sunny the whole day, and then you get to town, then it just starts raining. Yeah, so Regen und wieder keinen Schirm dabei. So here Schirm is umbrella. Dabei just means I don't, with me. Okay, dabei just means with me. So which other phrases come to mind when you think about better? When you think about that's better. So please write that. Sentences until the last one. Just the sentences that you think about the weather. Wie wichtig ist das Wetter für Sie, beziehungsweise für Ihren Beruf? Okay. Und welche Stimmungen erzeugen bei Ihnen, vorausgesetzt, es kommt in Ihrem Heimatland vor? So welche Stimmungen erzeugen bei Ihnen? Okay, so that's what's listed here. So strahlend blauer Himmel. Okay, Himmel is the sky. Sonnenschein, Hitze, Kälte oder Kälte, Sturm. Okay, that is storm. Yeah, the other two, the last two, we really don't have them in our country. And Regenrischer Herbsttag. Yeah, we really don't have that. We do not have Herbst. Dicke weiße Schneeflocken. Yeah, we don't have snow. Okay, so here, what you're supposed to do here is beschreiben Sie das typische Wetter Ihres Heimatlandes. So here you're supposed to describe the typical weather of your country. Okay, I know these days we really don't have a typical weather, but whatever typical weather comes to mind, just write it. Just write it down. So here, also talk about Flüte, F-L-U mit Umlaut, T-E, that is floods. Okay, then we have in Dire, D-U mit Umlaut, Doppel-R, A, that is drought. So the first one, Flüte, floods, Dire, that is drought. Okay, plus anything else that we haven't talked about. That's not mentioned here. So what you can do is look on the right side of the page. That will give you an example. So here you don't have to like write a whole text. It can be just a paragraph of like, let me say 5 sentences. Okay, so just a paragraph of 5 sentences. That's it. So if you want to look at the example on the right, then here you use a dictionary. Yeah, you'll have to use a dictionary. some of these words we may not know. Yeah. So if you want to read through, I'll ask you to read through what's on the right side, and just to get the gist of it, just to get an understanding. Of course, you'll be using the dictionary quite a lot, but it's not such a long, such a long text. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, so please make sure you also read Nummer 3, das sind Sie den folgenden Wetterbericht. Okay, so okay, so for this here, you can read, all of us can read through it, but I'll ask, okay, so for those of us who are here, okay, Karen, the first paragraph. Okay, so the first paragraph starts from Vorhersage für heute. Okay, Vorhersage für heute. That's up to von Vorpommern up to bis 20 Grad. Okay, that will be US Karen. Felix Rabongo, the next paragraph. Im Norden bis zu rechnen. Dann Grace, investen bis drehender Wind. Dann James Mwangi. So James Mwangi im Süden. Dann bis auf 23 Grad. Dann Lucy Mawera, Vorhersage für morgen, Mittwoch, 7. August. So wir haben in den Frühstunden, I'll ask you to do 2 paragraphs. So in den Frühstunden, so do that. Then the next one in Tagesverlauf, and then up to Niederschläge gibt es nicht. Okay, that's where your text ends. So do the 2 paragraphs. And then Maurice Topper, do die Temperaturen erreichen in die Frühe. Okay, so
yes, sir.
Do just switch off your mic. So what you're supposed to do is this part. Okay, I hope you can. So what you're supposed to do ist die Temperaturen erreichen in der Frühe etwa 10 bis 15 Grad. Im Laufe des Tages steigen sie auf 22 bis 26 Grad an. Okay, so you tell us what the weather is, what the information is here. Then you have 2 paragraphs remaining.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Assignment, right?
Sorry?
You said assignment?
Okay, you have this text.
Yes.
You have this text in the group. Okay, I already sent this document to the group, and I'm just giving out. Instead of us reading throughout the whole text on the right page, so I'm giving out each and everyone on what to read, and I've given you yours. Okay.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm asking whether it's an assignment or something we're doing now.
Okay, can you see my text? Can you see
Yeah,
my,
I seen it.
can you see my screen? Okay, so let me, okay, let me use that. Okay, so here it's supposed to be, just give me a minute. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so so here, from where it starts from die Temperaturen. Can you see die Temperaturen?
Yeah, I seen it.
Okay, yeah, so
I seen it.
Okay, so there are 4 sentences. Okay, so please read that. If you need to use a dictionary, use a dictionary. So, and then tomorrow you tell us what the text means. Okay.
All right. I'll do that, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Yeah. Then Willy Munene. Okay. You do the trend. You do trend. You do the first paragraph. Okay. You do the first paragraph. Then okay. Current word, you do the last paragraph. So you do the first and the last paragraph. Okay.
So the last.
Yes. Yeah, bitte. Okay.
On the lower.
Yeah. Okay. So the first paragraph, which is von Vorpommern, okay, up to so for since you have 2 different paragraphs which are kind of different, so let me just read them. Von Vorpommern bis zum Erzgebirge regnet es zum Teil kräftig. Gebietsweise lockern die Wolken auf und es gibt nur vereinzelte Schauer. Die Höchstwerte liegen bei 16 bis 20 Grad. Okay, you have that? Okay, and then your second paragraph is: Am Freitag scheint zunächst die Sonne. Im Tagesverlauf kommt es zur Ausbildung einiger Quellwolken. Vor allem im Osten sind vereinzelte Gewitter möglich. Die Tageshochstemperaturen liegen zwischen 24 Grad an der Oder und 31 Grad am Rhein. So you have your 2 paragraphs. Okay. Okay. Now.
So, sir.
Okay.
Meaning we have 2 assignments here, the writing part and the reading one.
Yep. So the
I didn't get the writing part.
Okay. Okay, now yeah, that's why I said if you need to ask a question, just stop me and ask. Okay, anytime. Stop me and ask. Don't let me finish until the end, because I was actually going to finish the lesson because it's 20 past. It's 20 minutes. We are 20 minutes past the lesson when the lesson should have ended. So whenever you don't hear anything or you don't understand anything, just stop me and ask, okay? Just unmute yourself and ask, because otherwise sometimes you may raise your hand and I may not see it. So just unmute yourself and ask. So the first assignment is, okay, let me start with the second, which is the easiest. So the second assignment, which is on page, which is number 3 on the screen and on the right, okay? Here you just read, understand, and then tomorrow you read for us and then tell us what the weather is, Okay. On the left here, actually there are three assignments. So here on the left, was fällt Ihnen, wenn Sie das Wort Wetter hören? So here, which words or which phrases come to mind when you think about the weather? For example, Regen und wieder keinen Schirm dabei. I mean, that's so typical around here. In Amatatu, you left home, it was, there was no sign of rain. And then in Amatatu, before you get to town, then it starts pouring. Yeah, and you didn't carry any umbrella, you didn't carry any jacket with you. Yeah. So think about that. So here you can, instead of writing up all the way up to down, just like around 5 sentences. Okay, so just 5 sentences. Und dann Nummer 2, berichten Sie. So I need you to beschreiben Sie das typische Wetter Ihres Heimatlandes. So describe a typical weather in your country. So here, also just a sentence, so not a sentence, but a paragraph, the same way they've done on the right side. Okay. So you just write a typical weather in Kenya or in your country. Yeah, you can just use one to just 5 sentences, a 5-sentence paragraph. That's basically what you use here. And as I mentioned, ein regenrischer Herbsttag, we don't have Herbst in Kenya or in some of our countries, so we just leave that out. Dicke weiße Schneeflocken, we don't have Schnee. We never have Schnee, okay? Unless you live on top of Mount Kenya. So just leave these 2 out. But then you can also talk about Flüte, Dure, I don't know what else, to describe a typical weather in your country. And the reason for this, the reason why this is important is because it forms part of your Schreiben, Teil 2, where you need to write, either you need to give information to your friend, so you have to write a text explaining why you cannot be able to come or why you are not able to make it on time, and you're supposed to suggest a meeting at another time and at another location. So that is why we need to be able to describe something in the form of an SMS. So which would normally be like around 5 or so sentences. So in a paragraph, it is like 5 or so sentences, and you go straight to the point. Okay. So it's a short message. You need to go straight to the point. Yeah. So just like the weather forecast. We just have a paragraph, 5 sentences, and they've gone straight to the point. So that is how you need to go about exercise 2. So exercise 1, you just write, you write the phrases that are typical of, when people talk about the weather. Yeah, like just a few weeks ago, we were thinking, oh, Nairobi has moved nearer to the sun. So it doesn't have to be about rain, it can be about the sun, it can be about wind, it can be about anything. And then number 2, das ist Beschreibung, okay, Wetterbeschreibung. And then for exercise 3, okay, here I've given each and everyone a paragraph, some of us 2 paragraphs. And what you're supposed to do here is translate, okay? understand what's happening. So you do that and you translate, and then tomorrow you tell us what the weather is, what the weather is talking about in the paragraph. And you're allowed to use the dictionaries. Is that clear, Felix?
Yes, it's clear. Though the first assignment, I find it really difficult because I don't understand really what I'm going to write, the phrase of the weather.
It's not about the phrase of the weather. It's about these typical Kenyan phrases. Like I've just said, in February or in March, yeah, these things that normally play around, so these jokes that normally play around that, yeah, Nairobi has moved closer to the sun. Such a phrase. So what do you think? Okay, what comes to mind when you hear the word weather? Yeah.
Can I give a Swahili example?
Yeah.
Yes.
Joy imekuja na wajukuu wake. Yeah, something like that, right?
Yes, yeah, something like that. So just think about something that whenever you hear about the weather, these are the phrases that that you think about. Try as much as possible to write them in German. If not possible, then try at least 3 in German and 2 in either Kiswahili or English. Okay, and then we'll go over that. Okay. So Felix, Rabongo, are we together on exercise 1?
Okay, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know most of the phrases are usually in Kiswahili or what, I don't know, yeah. But yeah, so it's just these phrases like what what's just been mentioned. So that's it. Okay. Yeah, but so next time, please, if you don't understand anything, just stop me and ask. So rather than wait until we're finalizing the class, because now it's heading to 10:30. And our class is supposed to be from 8 to 10, so which means I've gone 30 minutes extra. Yeah. So please, if you don't understand anything, then just stop, unmute yourself and ask. Okay, Felix?
Okay. Yeah. Can I ask? Now, is it the same as when they say in Norden as gibt Sonne und
So, okay, Lucy, I can I can't hear you well because I think of your network connection. So normally when you're doing a weather report, so you'll say
whatever you.
So okay, I can see we didn't understand the assignment. So on the right side, just read and understand what's happening. You don't have to write that. Just read and understand. Use a dictionary and understand. So tomorrow we'll read your paragraph and then tell us what's happening. Okay, tell us what the weather forecast is. Number 2, you describe a typical weather in Kenya. describe the typical weather in Kenya, or like Maurice Tucker. If you lived in Kenya long enough, then you may know the Kenyan weather, or you can describe a typical weather in your country. And here you're not describing the typical weather, is not giving a weather forecast. It's not saying like on Wednesday the weather will be. So here describing a typical weather is just saying we have 2 long rainy seasons, or this and this. So these are 2 different things. Okay. So the reason I've shown us the exercise on the right is to get the vocabulary, is to get how weather is described, which words can be used with weather. You can still go back to the exercise that we did on Friday and just use the VETA, das VETA, as your tema. Think about which nouns you want to use, think about which adjectives you want to use, think about which verbs you want to use, which conjunctions and blah, blah, blah you want to use. And that's a first, you can use that as a first springboard of your exercise before you write, before you do the exercise number 2. And it should just be 1 paragraph, 5 sentences. Okay, anyone else have a question?
Teacher, mwalimu. Tuseme hii ya kudescribe the typical weather in your country. Tunaweza penye unaishi like tuseme like cause Kenya kuna different parts. So tuseme kama mimi naishi side za Western ama Nyanza na sijui parts zingine za parts zingine za Kenya, naweza describe hiyo ya penye naishi.
Egal. Okay. So it's describe the weather. If you've lived in if you live in a certain area in Kenya, describe that a typical weather there. If you live in if you've lived in different sections in the country, then describe, just pick maybe certain areas have certain weather patterns. So just describe the weather the way you'd like it. So whether in the place where you live, or so if you live in Nairobi, then you can describe the typical weather in Nairobi, or the typical weather pattern in Nairobi. If you live in Western or Mombasa, or whichever part of the country, you can describe that. So it doesn't have to be. It's really not an exercise that you're going to go through. That, or this is not a typical weather. This is not a typical Kenyan weather. It's just an exercise that is asking you, okay, are you able to describe something? Are you able to talk about something?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So imagine, yeah. Okay. So Felix, now imagine you are someone from Germany asked you about a typical weather where you live. So then how would you describe that to them in a few words?
In a few words.
So one paragraph, 5 sentences. So that's basically what the assignment is all about. Okay, I need to go. If you have any question, then ask anyone in the class. They should be able to help you. Or you can still send me a question, but just know that you get the response tomorrow. Tomorrow during the day, or tomorrow like after 10. Yeah, because I have another class from 8 to 10, which I need to prepare for. So then that means that if you have to send me any question on anything, then the only time you can be able to get a question and their response is tomorrow. Is tomorrow after 10, which could be around like 10:30, the earliest. Okay. Thanks everyone for your time today. And then yeah, let's see each other tomorrow at 8 p.m. and hopefully we can be able to end our class at 10. Okay. Yeah. So tomorrow we'll try and end our class at 10. Normally for the evening classes, our classes normally end like around 10:20, 10:30. Yeah, which is unfair also to the morning class, because the morning class, the class starts at 8 and ends at 10. Latest 10:05 or 10 minutes past 10 if you extend quite a lot. So tomorrow we'll end at 10. Okay, we start at 8 p.m. For the people who will be in class, we'll just start with them. If you come in during the class, guys, shoot me a light. Yeah. Then we'll end exactly at 10. Okay, so we'll end exactly at 10. We may extend by 5 or 10 minutes, but we'll end at 10. Okay. Ja, vielen Dank. Und dann bis morgen. Ich wünsche euch einen schönen Nacht.
Gute Nacht.
Okay, tschüss.
Gute Nacht.
Gute Nacht, tschüss.
Tschüss.